Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this mini-series using the Creative Expressions dies from Sue Wilson, and we're looking at the Corvus die, and it's a Gemini die, meaning that it's got different edges to go with the main section of the die. If you watch part 1, we'll talk through the actual die and what it does, but for this episode what we're going to do is use it and you can see what you can create with it. So I'm going to start off with an ivory card base. This is 8x8 and it's from Stix2Anything, and I've already used the silver fine line foil just to go around the edge of the card. I'll put a description at the bottom just to tell you everything that I've used, and if there's anywhere that I can put a link for, I'll put a link so that you can go straight to their website. So I'm starting off with my ivory card base. So the next thing that I've done is I've die cut 4 strips of the Corvus die, and I've done them in ivory. I've taken the time and trouble to poke out all the little bits in the holes, which you need a little bit of patience for, but it's well worth it. So I've actually attached those already to the back of a matten layer that will go on top of our card. I've actually cut into the corners instead of mitering them. If I'd have used a slightly smaller piece of card for the base, I could have mitered into them to get a perfect corner. But for this card, I'm not too worried about that because I've got something that's going to go in each corner. The other thing that I've done is I've already added pearl drops to the edges of the layer before I put the actual Corvus strips on. So that will sit nicely on our card base. I've already put 3D foam on the back, and I'm just going to peel off the back of the foam so that we can pop it onto our card, and then that way it'll stand proud and you'll be able to see those beautiful edges. I must admit, I do think this die is so pretty and there's so many uses for it. I'll just peel off the back of these so that we can get it on our card. There. Okay, so we'll pop that down in the centre. I think that's about right there. That's our first layer. Next, what I've done is I've taken another layer of the ivory card, and on this I've just edged it with the silver foil again from Stix2Anything. I've already added the 3D foam on the back of this just to save a little bit of time. I'll peel off the backs and then we'll pop that in the centre like that to create another layer. The next layer, slightly smaller again 3D foam pads. It's all about layers, height and dimension really on this card, just to add interest, so we've not got something that's flat and it just draws the eye to the centre. So I'll just peel off that. We'll add that into the centre of the previous layer like so. Then for our last layer I've got a message. I don't know if we can pick that up. I've got a message on cream card, it's actually been embossed on it, and I've placed it into the centre of this layer. Again, foam pads on the back to build the centre. On the outside of this layer, again I've used the pearl dots and made a pearly edge. So I'll just peel off these. There we go. And I'll pop that into the middle. Now already that card is looking beautiful, but I've just got something to put in the four corners because it just needs that, I think, that little bit extra just to cover up where I haven't mitered the corners. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue into each of the four corners, and using the Peony die from Creative Expressions, I've just made 4 flowers. I've physically cut out the shape of the leaves, and I've added a pearl in the centre of the flower, and I'm just going to pop those in each corner like that, and then 2 for the bottom of the card as well. There we go. And the last one, and that way, that if you're no good at mitered corners, that just finishes each of the corners off nicely, and that's our finished card. I hope you've really enjoyed this episode. Please watch episode 1 to see about the Corvus, to see what else you can do with it and the measurements, etc. And there's also going to be part 3 of using it in another different way as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.